Well, hey there. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a good week this week. Gosh, what a week. What the what was on the heart this week um for this call, I thought, why against all odds? Out of all these different ones, that is the question. Why AAO? Why active? Why against all odds? And this isn't like some video about your why. That's something deeper. And the thought to me was, I'm in my car. The thought to me was, why AAO? It's like, okay, I just thought I would list off like how many reasons why this is a decent opportunity. And the first one I thought was, it's like the best parts of what's hot for e-commerce today. So many people are driving for Uber and they're delivering food and doing that to get a 1099. 1099s are in a better situation today where more people are open to side incomes, supplemental incomes. But something like this, it's funny because if you're a six-figure earner in your professional life, you look at this as a way to get out of that. It's like, it's not just a side hustle. It's not just something that could make you $300 a month or $1,000 a month, but in reality, it's something that could potentially make you generational wealth. Like the best parts of the Amazon business, the best parts of the drop shipping business, the best parts of the influencer model, of the peer-to-peer, of the retail, of door-to-door even. I was talking to a guy this week and I said, hey, look, 400 accounts is $10,000 a month. Just tell them that it's a subscription-based green juice. They're probably going to want to buy 2 bags, but to just get one, use the 25% off coupon code as the means to get the sale for the first sale, and have 10 dudes go out and knock doors for it. Maybe they're like 15 and have them each go get 10 accounts. 4 days of that and you got 40 each. There's 10 guys, that's 400. That might take you a month. He was a professional door knocker and he started going off on the ramifications of how big this could be. And if he had all these teams, and then he smiles and he looks at me, he goes, all of them would use my link and I'd make them keep track of their sales. And then he laughed and I thought, wow, it really is the door-to-door models out there selling pest control subscriptions for the price of this. You're like, you want to put toxic chemicals all over your house to kill bugs, or drink some green juice to make your body better? So I was like, man, you got the door-to-door people. There's influencers peddling. I talked to a guy who peddles for Organifi. He gets 25%. He can't peddle anything else in that space for a while, and he only gets the initial order. We give you 50% retail every order, every time, in perpetuity. Like, how come no one's gone and gotten their favorite influencers to take a look at this? If we're going back to the list, it's like we are a better product at a better price. You take the Walmart style mentality of buying a lot of things in bulk and getting the price down through that. Well, what if you were a guy that had like 30 years of experience in multi-level? You knew everything there was to know about all these products, and you were able to get the bulk ordering process because you have so many companies that are doing so much. It's really funny. One of the things on my list was Dan. I thought about Dan for a second. I'm like, here's a guy that, when I saw one of the companies he put together back in 2007, I was blown away. By 2008, I was in, and I just thought, how is this guy thinking so much far ahead of where the multi-level industry is right now? He's so many steps ahead in the thinking. It shows in the coupon codes. No other company does that. It makes logical sense. It feels so organic in our e-commerce space. You take a guy who knows so much about education and has a college level background around all that and has worked in that space for such a long time. He's never had debt. Just conceiving the fact that when he graduated college, he had made almost $1 million in commissions as a distributor in one of these types of companies. He just decided not to do mortgages, not to finance anything, not to get a credit card, and never did. And he doesn't conceive that because 30 years has gone by since that. You take a guy like that who's so far ahead, and it's like the proof is in the pudding. I was talking to an industry great And he was talking about how credit card debt is higher than it's been in a long time, how consumer spending is down like 15%, how people's savings are almost gone or non-existent, how inflation has been affecting people, how the direct selling and multi-level spaces are down year over year. And then he started naming off big companies that were down 10, 20, 30%, 10, 20, 30% on so many different companies. And then he stops and he says something. He's like, he says, one of your owner's companies, Be Epic. He's like, that company's going into momentum. Their sales are growing. They're having record growth month over month. He says some of the other companies they put together, same exact thing. And then you look at most of the other companies in the industry and they're going down. Sales are going down. And it's like, it really shows you the kind of owner, there's aspects where his beliefs are, hey, if you need a video, make it yourself. If you need a tool, take care of it. You're a leader, do the things you do. Here's the platform, you make it how you want. And so some people get really frustrated by that, but because he runs a tight ship that way, he's able to pay out so much. And that was another thing on my list, is we pay so much compared to other people. We have the coupon codes, but still pay a full price. We pay 50% retail. The numbers, when you actually look at it, are in the 70s. It's astounding how much percentage gets paid to us. The test don't guess thing is another one. How powerful is it that the proof's in the pudding, where you can test somebody's nitric oxide levels right there, and they know the nitric oxide thing won the Nobel Prize. Like, if heart disease is important, this week, 2 people I know have had their family member, a dad and a mom of 2 different friends, passed away from heart-related disease. This week, I've experienced the mourning just this week, the loss and seeing someone lose their mom and seeing someone lose their dad. They didn't test. They didn't drink our product. Man, what would it have made a difference? In my head, everyone I don't share this with, I'm potentially holding them from something that could have potentially added value to their life. So I could go off on this a lot, but I would say it's like, we have a womb to tomb product that's cheaper than its mainstream competitors, cheaper than its online competitors. It's better priced, and we get paid commissions on it by referral. I'm driving, showing homes. I'm in real estate. I'm showing homes this week, and I'm driving all over my state of Utah. And I just see houses and houses. And I think, man, those are really close together. There's probably 8 feet between those houses. And I'm looking at the vast developments. And I don't think any of those people know about Against All Odds. I start laughing. Man, people got a lot of excuses, because there's so many people out there in this world that could benefit from our product, and they'd be saving money. And God forbid they wanted to make $300 a month or $1,000 a month, or get the product for free, or they wanted to make millions of dollars. It's all there. And so the last piece that I'm going to say of the things on my list, because I had 62 things on my list and only got to a dozen of them, but I wanted to end with this part right here. Of all the reasons why AAO, the one that I would say that's probably the most profound to me is timing, because this is in its infancy. We're about a year ahead of hyperinflation and a bunch of calamity and a bunch of things taking place. I believe in my lifetime, we'll watch our country turn into a third world country in terms of the monetary policy and the debt and some of the details that are taking place in the financial infrastructure of our country. And we're going to need opportunity. We're not wrong about AAO. We're early. We're early. We are in the infancy of this. We got in this because it was one product, one story, one message, one focus, active, a product that encompasses just about everything you need in a day, nutrition-wise. So you're like, check, took care of the body. If you weigh over 200 pounds, take 2. That's it. We are in the infancy. And so I say, why Against All Odds? And I just thought, you know what? Peyton will take all these wonderful reasons why, and he'll encapsulate it into the action steps. Like, what do you do now? Great. AAO was like, great. What do you do? So I just pass it to him.
Let's get unmuted here. All right. Well, thanks so much for that, Kevin. Yeah, there's a couple of things before I jump into, what can you do tonight? What can you do this week? You said something that I thought was really interesting. And if you spend any time in business, It doesn't matter what kind of business that you spend time in, but one of the conversations that is really prevalent is you will hear people say, identify your customer. And when you're building a organization to go out to distribute massive amounts of active greens, you have two people to identify. So first and foremost is somebody that wants to consume the greens simply because they're looking for a great greens product at a beautiful price. So it can't be overstated enough that, I'm going to kind of hit on a couple of bullet points that Kevin talked about as I kind of go through what I'm thinking about right now. But it cannot be stated enough that the reason that Dan can pay so much is different than the reason why other companies might pay so much. And the reason is not because he overinflates the price of the product to the end consumer. The reason is because he owns the infrastructure of his company debt free. So he has very little overhead compared to many other operators. There are many other companies that pay large amounts to the field as a percentage similar to us, but they do that by marking up their product to the end consumer. So you see a product that might be really a $90 product or a $100 product selling for $135, $155. And I don't know if you're, anything like me, but I want to live in the place where I'm delivering value. So I'm not worried about selling the cheapest thing. I'm not worried about selling the most expensive thing. I'm worried about delivering something of value to the people that are ultimately my customers. And you can rest assured that, as you go out and you share this product, like this is a world-class product by the process, by the farms, by the way that it's developed. And it's at a world-class price. So that's an incredible thing. And you just have to know that that is a function of our infrastructure. It is not a function of pricing. So that's a really exciting thing. The next thing that Kevin was talking about, and I think this is so important to think about, is that who are the people that really are going to make a splash, right? So if you have the customer that's somebody that needs to, take nitrous oxide, somebody that needs to take a greens product, maybe somebody that's already taking a greens product, but it's not doing maybe what they want, or they want, something that has a better delivery system and a better price. That's one of the profiles of your customer. The next profile of your customer is somebody that's going to help you grow the organization. It's going to help you grow the customer base. Who is that person? There's a couple of different ways to think about that, but the person really is somebody who is dissatisfied. Super important that you understand this. It is not somebody who's poor. It's not somebody who's rich. It's not somebody who works 3 jobs. It's not somebody who needs a job, right? It's not somebody who's an influencer. It's not somebody who's, stay-at-home mom. It's none of those things. It could be any of those things, but it's none of those things. It is simply somebody who is dissatisfied. And who's dissatisfied? Many different people for many different reasons, right? And now, why do I say that? Because think about this for a moment, that if we are working with people that are over, let's say, the age of 30, the average person's over the age of 30 likely has a family, has a career. Maybe they don't have kids yet, but they have dogs, right? They have a mortgage. They have responsibility. And if you have responsibility, regardless of the age that you are, but the way that life tends to work is that the further along you are, the more responsibility that you have, the less risk that you can take. And so if people are looking for a pivot in their career, let's say somebody, like Kevin said, makes a great living, but they want to do something else. They're not enjoying themselves. They feel like they have the golden handcuffs. They feel like they have no mobility. They feel like they don't have time to be around their kids, right? What do they have to do? And there's a couple of different options. A couple of different options is to switch careers, right? Get a different kind of job, start a new business, right? Or stop what they're doing and then go look to do something else. And the challenge with 2 of those 3 options is the amount of risk. Very, very few people have simply the savings, are willing to take on the amount of debt, and have the confidence to go out and to be able to pivot like that. The more responsibility that we have, the harder it is to do that. Now we look at the fact that 90% of small businesses in America fail. Statistically, in 5 years, 90% of small businesses in America fail. And so that's not sexy. But here's the thing, is that if you were to start something and if you were to fail, do you have enough runway left to recover from a bankruptcy? If you're 50, 60 years old, the answer might be no. And so then you look at a business like this, you say, okay, well, you're going to have, your total cost of doing business is like your technology costs, your product costs, and maybe some travel costs. It's like a couple $1,000s a year, maybe. It's like, if you have any sort of stable income to support yourself while you are in the process of growing this, you literally can't mess up. You have an unlimited runway. There is no burn rate on payroll. There is no burn rate on overhead. It's like you can stay in the game for as long as it takes to figure it out. And that's something that nobody talks about enough in this business, because that means that if the only way to fail is to quit, and all you have to do is, like Thomas Edison say, fail 9,999 times to figure out the one way that electricity is made, is that if you can't go out of business in this business because it can't bleed you dry, it's like you just have to try enough times to figure out how to get the result that you want, to set yourself on a different course. And now there's one more piece that's super, super important about this, is that too many people think that if they're going to use this type of business as a vehicle to get what it is that they want, they think that what they're doing is changing careers. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This is a very, very, very strange business in the sense that this is more like building an asset than it is like getting a job. But we are trained to believe that the work that we do is job, it's career. And so if more people understood that what you're really doing with this business is that you are taking a year, 3 years, 5 years, one time to build it with force, right? To build it with strategy, to build it with leadership, to build it with structure, to have a stream of income that requires maintenance. If you switch careers today in a traditional job path, in 5 years, you might have a higher income, you might have a higher title, you might have more stability inside the company you're in, but you still have a job that requires full-time activity. And if you stop that, it's over. In 5 years, if you do it right, you have a stream of income that's probably bigger than any of those jobs could be. And you have a system that is in place that just simply means that you have to tend to the garden, water the plants, weed the weeds occasionally, and do the basics to keep the pipeline of money coming so that you can now go off and do other things that you want to do. So if you're somebody that is focused on family, great, build this so that you can have the time with the family. If you're somebody that's focused on business, great, build this so that later you have an asset that pays you so that you can have security while you start other businesses. If you're somebody that wants contribution, great, start this, because I don't know of another business where you can help more people go from nothing to something, learn a skill set, grow, invest energy, and benefit as a business like this. So what does this have to do with anything? When I talk about a part-time business, what are a couple of skills that you can start learning today? The first skill is the skill of inviting. It's simply learning how to, I got approached by probably 4 different people from different companies this week. And I was shocked that not a single person asked me a question about who I was, what's going on in my world, what I'm looking for, if I'm looking for more, what's working or what isn't working in my business, if I'm excited, what I'm focused on, and what I would like to achieve in the next 1 to 3 years. All they did was tell me about a bunch of features about stuff I don't care about. So how do you start making great invitations? You start asking people questions. What is going on in your life? What's going on with your family? What's going on at work? What's going on in recreation? What do you want to be doing next summer? And the reason that we talk about this is because I got off the phone today with a friend of mine who runs a very successful contracting business. If I was telling him about a world-class opportunity for money, he doesn't care. But what's going on in his world? He wants more time with his kids. He has young kids, and he now realizes the value of time. And while his business pays him great amounts of money, it requires him to travel. It has stress. It has risk. It has parts of it that are consuming his time. So if I told him about the money, or if I told him about the features, or if I told him about a product, what would it matter? But if I said, dude, we got to work something out. We got to look at some information, because there is a way that you can make full-time income working part-time. And if you don't believe me, let me introduce you to my friend who just made $93,000 in a quarter working part-time. It's real, right? It's here. And so learning how to make great exposures, ask people questions. What is going on? How's work? How's your retirement? How's your business? How's your health? How's your family? How's your fun? What are you doing next summer? Right? And then saying, Offer potential solutions. Don't pitch the company. Don't pitch Dan. Don't pitch the pay plan. Don't pitch the product. Say, if I could show you something that's been working for me that might be able to solve that, would it be worth your time to take a look for a little bit? That's it. Becoming a master of inviting. The second thing that you can start working on is learning how to make a presentation. Everybody thinks that a presentation is all about a sales pitch, about sitting down and about showing all the features and the benefits of the product. A presentation is simply a way to communicate information, your story, in a way that's predictable that you can teach other people how to do. And so learning how to tell your story is vital. It's, this is who I am, this is where I was, this is what I was looking for, and this is what I found. Okay? This is who I am, this is where I was, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I found. So it would go like this. If my buddy got started tomorrow, he would start saying to people, hey, I'm running a construction company. It's doing great. I have no time. I got little kids. I was looking for something. I found a company. It looks like it's going to grow. I think that we could, use it to get into a position where we have more income and more flexibility in our time. If I showed you some information, would you be willing to take a look? That is the process of now using your story. You're going to learn a short story. You're going to learn a midline story and a long form story, right? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that is ultimately two of the massive, massive behaviors that if you can master those two things, you may not to make millions just from those two things, but you will absolutely be able to make a profit. You will be able to teach other people to make a profit, and you will start to be able to make great leverage income and a part-time effort. And so I would say, hopefully that'll give you a couple of ideas of how to approach people, who you might be thinking about. It's people that want more. It's dissatisfied people. It's people that are maybe doing fine today, but they don't want to be doing a year from now what they're already doing today. And how are they going to make that transition? Are they going to kill the business that they already have and go start a new career? Or what if we could show them how to build something part-time where in a year when they make the transition, it's not in debt, it's not in scarcity, and it's not on blind faith because they have something that's been built. And that's really what makes this business so magical. So with that, I'm going to bid you all farewell. And thanks for listening to my shouting.